Good morning, students. Myself is Sumit. Today we'll be doing the second chapter, which is biological classification. In today's lecture, we'll be discussing on types of biological classification, in which our main emphasis on the 5 kingdom system of classification given by R.H. Whitaker in 1969. In the last lecture, we talk about some of the taxonomic aid like key, zoological parks, botanical gardens, museums, etc. in the first chapter, the living world. So from today, we'll be starting the second chapter, biological classification. What classification is all about? In the last lecture, we talk about the classification in the last chapter. In classification system is usually started from when the human was civilized. And there have been many attempts to classify living organisms since civilization, and there are some very simple system of classification like the classification of individuals or organisms into two such categories like plants and animals is the linear system of classification, which is known as the two kingdom system of classification. The first person who usually started the classification system is Aristotle, and Aristotle attempt a more scientific basis of classification. Aristotle classify plants into trees, shrubs and herbs, and animals into the animals having RBC, red blood cells or red blood corpuscles, and those that did not have red blood. So animals having the red blood color and animals having the blood color different than red. And plants into three main categories, which is known as herb, shrub and trees. These are the smallest of plants. The height is usually ranges from less than a meter, and the stem is usually green and herbaceous. Herbaceous stem means the stem is very weak without any timber or non-woody. So in herbs the stem is usually non-woody. They are very weak trees, and usually the annual plants are herbaceous in nature. Shrubs are more advanced than herbs, these having a profusely branched stem. There are so much branching, and each such branch act as an axis. The stem is woody in nature, while the trees have a large strong trunk. The stem of tree is usually known as trunk, and from this particular trunk many of the branches appears. So trees are the largest of these three. While Aristotle classify the animals, so this one is the classification of plants, and classify the animals having red blood and having non-red blood. this is usually a type of two kingdom system. It is the main two kingdom system of classification was used by Carolus Linnaeus, who is known as the father of taxonomy, in which he classified the organisms into two categories. Number one is plenty, which include all the plants, and number second is animalia. These are the two kingdoms. This kingdom is plenty and this kingdom is animalia. In plenty kingdom, he included algae, bryophytes, fungi, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. While in animals, he placed all the animals. This system did not distinguish between the eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells, or eukaryotic organisms or prokaryotic organisms, unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms, photosynthetic organisms and non-photosynthetic organisms. It was easily done and very easy to understand also. But the problem is a large number of organisms did not fall into either category. They are neither true plants nor true animals. And hence the two kingdom system of classification used for a long time was found inadequate. And then a third classification system was used, which is very important for your examination purpose, which was given by R.H. Whittaker in 1969, and this classification system is known as 5 kingdom system of classification. The 5 kingdom included in this system were named Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plenty, and Animalia. Monera, Protista, Fungi. The first one is Monera, second one is Protista, third one is Fungi, fourth one is Plenty, and the fifth one is Animalia. The main criteria for classification used by R.H. Whittaker include the structure of the cell, the body organization of the cell, the mode of nutrition, the reproduction, and phylogenetic relationship. Phylogeny means origin. So how the organism can originate from other organism is the phylogenetic relationship. He included all the prokaryotes into Monera, like bacteria and blue-green algae, which is later named cyanobacteria. In Protista, he included all the unicellular eukaryotes. In fungi, he included the eukaryotic fungus, and in plants, he included all the plants, and in animalia, animals are there. So this classification system is known as the 5 kingdom system of classification. The comparative account of different characters of these five kingdom is given in a chart of your NCERT book. तो उस चार्ट को एक बार हम बुक से ही देख लेते हैं और उसी से मैं आप लोगों को इसको आगे समझा देता हूँ. If you look at the chart, these are the characters: cell type, cell wall, nuclear membrane, body organization, and mode of nutrition. And these are the 5 kingdoms. So number one, the first character is cell type. देखिए पहले ही बोला था कि जो मोनेरा होता है इसमें जो सेल टाइप होगी वो प्रोकैरियोटिक होगी. तो जितने भी प्रोकैरियोट होते हैं वो सब के सब मोनेरा के अंदर आते हैं. और इस लिविंग वर्ल्ड में आज की डेट में अगर हम देखें तो प्रोकैरियोट कौन है? प्रोकैरियोट केवल बैक्टीरिया हैं. ब्लू ग्रीन एल्गी जो सियानोफाइसी साइनोफाइसी के मेंबर्स होते हैं वो भी जो हैं प्रोकैरियोटिक नेचर के होते हैं, इसलिए उन्हें भी हम बैक्टीरिया ही मान लेते हैं, साइनोबैक्टीरिया. सो ऑल द प्रोकैरियोट्स विच इंक्लूड द बैक्टीरिया एंड साइनोबैक्टीरिया आर मोनेरा. जब हम सेल टाइप की बात करेंगे तो प्रोकैरियोटिक. एक्सेप्ट द मोनेरा ऑल अदर kingdoms, Protista, Fungi, Plenty and Animalia are eukaryotic in nature. So what is the difference? In Monera all the prokaryotes are there. In Protista all the unicellular eukaryotes are there. Like the protozoans, amoeba, paramecium, etc. are usually included in Protista. If we are talking about the next character, which is the cell wall. So the cell wall of Monera means bacteria is non-cellulosic. It means the cell wall is not made up of cellulose, but it is usually made up of polysaccharides and amino acids. Amino acids means proteins, because many amino acids associated together to form a protein. Then if you look at Protista, the cell wall is present in some individuals and absent in some. So present in some of the organisms and also in some organism the cell wall is absent. In fungi the cell wall is present so that it seems like a plant, but the cell wall is non-cellulosic and made up of chitin, which is usually an animal constituent. While in case of plants, a clear-cut cell wall is present and the cell wall is made up of cellulose. In animals, there is a basic difference between plant and animals, that in plants cell wall is present and in animals cell wall is absent. In animals there is no cell wall present. Now come to the third character, which is the nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane. In Monera, the nuclear membrane is absent, as we know that in bacteria, in prokaryotes, there is no nuclear membrane. So the nucleus of the prokaryote is not a true nucleus, and this nucleus and such type of nucleus is known as the false nucleus, not a true nucleus, and this one is known as nucleoid. So there is no nuclear membrane, but the nuclear membrane is present in all the four: Protista, Fungi, plants, Plenty and Animalia. Now come to the next point, next character. Next character is the body organization. The body organization. Monera is cellular in nature, cell level में ये काम करते हैं. Protista is also, because there is a single cell. जब सेल होती हैं, जब सिंगल सेल है तो यूजुअली टिश्यू बनने का कोई मीनिंग नहीं है. व्हाट इज टिश्यू? टिश्यू इज ग्रुप ऑफ सेल्स विच परफॉर्म अ पर्टिकुलर फंक्शन. देन बहुत से लेवल के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होते हैं. पहले सेल लेवल के जो सबसे कम डेवलप हैं, सेल से बनेगा टिश्यू, टिश्यू से बनेगा ऑर्गन, ऑर्गन से बनेगा ऑर्गन सिस्टम. सो सिमिलर टाइप ऑफ टिश्यू which form a particular function is called organ, and similar organs which perform a particular function is called organ system. So in animals organ system is there, while in case of Protista and Monera, the organization is cellular. While in fungi, fungi are usually multicellular, and the tissue level of organization is there. It means some loose tissues are formed, which are formed from the association of many cells. While in case of plants, the organization is tissue. Some of the plants are of tissue organization system, while other are organ system of organization system, like in case of algae having a tissue level or cell level, while in case of pteridophytes, bryophytes, it may be a simple tissue, and in case of gymnosperm and angiosperm, it can be at organ level of organization system, body system. In animals, usually the tissue, organ and organ system. The higher animals are having organ system. Many of the organs together form a particular function or do a particular function. Now come to the last one. Last one is the mode of nutrition. मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन में अगर हम बात करते हैं, जो मोनेरा होते हैं, प्रोकैरियोट होते हैं, दे आर ऑफ both the types, they are having both type of nutrition. They may be autotrophic or heterotropic in nature. Autotrophic means which can make their food own. Usually they are chemosynthetic, like in case of the आर्कीबैक्टीरिया. कीमोसिंथेटिक मीन्स जो ये इनऑर्गेनिक केमिकल से डायरेक्टली अपना फूड बना लेते हैं, और दे मे बी फोटोसिंथेटिक. फोटोसिंथेटिक तो आप जानते ही हैं, जो फोटोसिंथेसिस के थ्रू अपना फूड बनाए. तो फोटोसिंथेसिस के लिए देयर इज नो क्लोरोप्लास्ट, बट समहाउ द क्लोरोफिल मॉलिक्यूल्स आर फ्री इन द सेल्स इन सम ऑफ द प्रोकैरियोट्स, like in case of blue-green algae. So they may be chemosynthetic, directly form their food from some inorganic chemicals, or photosynthetic, और दे में बी हेट्रोट्रोपिक. बहुत सारे ऐसे बैक्टीरिया हैं जो आप देखते हैं कि पैथोजेनिक होते हैं, डिजीज कॉज करते हैं, बैक्टीरियल डिजीज कॉज करते हैं. दे आर यूजुअली हेट्रोट्रोपिक. दे में बी सैप्रोफिटिक. सैप्रोफिटिक मीन्स जो डेड ऑर्गेनिक मैटर से अपना फूड बनाएं, और पैरासिटिक. पैरासिटिक मीन्स जो किसी लिविंग इंडिविजुअल के ऊपर रहें और उसको ही डिजीज फैलाएं. If we are talking about Protista, so Protista is again autotrophic in nature. They are usually photosynthetic, and heterotrophic in nature, which is non-photosynthetic, which depends on other organisms for their food. While the fungi is always heterotrophic, the fungi may be saprophytic, which live on the dead organic matter, like the mushrooms, the common mushrooms, or parasitic. There are so many fungus which are parasitic in nature and causing disease, like the ringworm. Now come to the plant kingdom. Plants are autotrophic in nature. They are always photosynthetic in nature. They do the process of photosynthesis for making their food own. And the last one is Animalia, animal kingdom. Animals are heterotrophic in nature. They may be holozoic or saprophytic in nature. So this is all about the today's topic. Hope you understand it. Thank you guys.